Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters, I want to tell you about a question I get asked more than almost any other question in my entire career of giving talks and reminders. People come to me, sometimes with tears in their eyes, and they ask, Mufti, why is it that the kindest person I know, the most generous, the most God-conscious, is the one going through the most pain? Why does the dishonest businessman down the road seem to be thriving, while my mother, who has never missed a prayer in her life, is battling illness after illness? Maybe you've asked this question yourself. Maybe you're asking it right now about your own life. You've been sincere. You've tried to do right by people. You've prayed. You've given charity. You've been patient with people who didn't deserve your patience. And yet here you are, still struggling, still waiting, still hurting, while it seems like people who couldn't care less about faith or character are sailing through life without a scratch. Tonight I want to address this honestly, because I think this question, left unanswered, quietly poisons the faith of so many good people. And I don't want that to happen to any of you. So let's start with an uncomfortable truth. This life was never designed to be a fair scoreboard of reward and punishment. We often, without realizing it, treat this world like a courtroom where good behavior should immediately produce good outcomes and bad behavior should immediately produce bad outcomes. But my brothers and sisters, this world is not the courtroom. This world is the classroom. The courtroom, the true and final one, comes later. If we keep expecting this life to hand out justice in real time, we will spend our entire lives confused and frustrated because that was never its purpose. Think about the prophets themselves, the best of creation, the closest of all people to Allah. Did their closeness to Allah spare them from hardship? Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was thrown into a fire. Yusuf, peace be upon him, was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a well, sold into slavery, and imprisoned for years despite his innocence. Ayub, peace be upon him, lost his wealth, his children, and his health, one after another. If closeness to Allah guaranteed an easy life, these would be the last people on earth who should have suffered. And yet they suffered more than almost anyone in human history. So clearly, suffering is not a punishment for distance from Allah, and ease is not proof of closeness to Him either. So why does it seem like good people suffer more? Let me give you a few honest explanations. The first reason is this: suffering refines character, and Allah invests His heaviest trials in the people He knows can carry them. And more importantly, the people He wants to elevate. Think about it in worldly terms. A trainer doesn't put the heaviest weights on a beginner who has never lifted before. They put light weights on the beginner and heavier weights on the person who has already built strength and is ready to grow further. Allah does something similar with the soul. He does not test people beyond what they can bear, and He often reserves the heaviest trials for those He has equipped spiritually to handle them and grow through them. The second reason is that good people often notice their suffering more and articulate it more honestly because they are in tune with their hearts. A person distant from their faith and their own reflection may go through immense hardship too, but numb themselves to it through distraction, indulgence, or simple denial. A person close to Allah tends to sit with their pain, reflect on it, cry over it, question it. It's not that good people suffer more in raw quantity. Sometimes it's that they feel it more deeply because their hearts are alive and sensitive, not hardened. The third reason, and I think this is the one we struggle with the most, is that Allah in His mercy sometimes gives the wrongdoer their reward now, in this temporary world, because that is genuinely all they will ever receive. And He delays the reward of the sincere believer, saving it for a far greater eternal reward later, because their patience and their sincerity deserve something this dunya could never adequately repay. Imagine someone offering you an enormous, life-changing reward next month versus a small, forgettable reward today. Which one would you actually want? If you had real wisdom, Allah, in His infinite mercy, chooses the greater reward for the people He loves, even if it means a harder road right now. Let me also address something important. Suffering is not exclusively reserved for the righteous, and comfort is not exclusively reserved for the wicked. I don't want anyone walking away from this tonight thinking that every hardship is a sign of righteousness or that every comfortable life is a sign of sin. That's an oversimplification. People of all types of character experience both ease and hardship because this life is a mixture for everyone, believer and disbeliever alike. What I am saying is this: when a person of genuine faith and good character does experience hardship, it is never a sign of Allah's neglect or displeasure. It is far more often a sign of elevation, refinement, and preparation for something greater, both in this life and the next. Let me share something that changed the way I personally look at this. Consider gold. Gold does not become pure by sitting untouched in a display case. It becomes pure by being placed into fire, melted down, and having its impurities burned away until what remains is refined, valuable, and ready to be shaped into something beautiful. Good people who suffer are very often being refined in exactly this way. The trial is not there to destroy them, it's there to burn away whatever impurities remain in their character, their reliance on Allah, their pride, until what is left is something far more valuable than what existed before the fire. Meanwhile, the wrongdoer who appears to be thriving without any hardship at all. My brothers and sisters, that ease is not always a blessing. Sometimes it is what the scholars called a gradual, gentle trap, where a person is given rope, given comfort, given apparent success, precisely because they are far from Allah, and this dunya is being used to distract them completely from ever turning back to Him. Ease is not always mercy, and hardship is not always punishment. Sometimes it's the exact opposite of what it appears to be on the surface. My brothers and sisters, if you are a good person going through immense difficulty right now, I want you to hear this clearly tonight. Your suffering is not a sign that Allah has abandoned you. It is far more likely a sign that He is preparing you, refining you, and reserving something far greater for you than what this dunya could ever offer. The prophets suffered the most, and they were the closest of all people to Allah. That should tell you everything you need to know about the relationship between hardship and closeness to your Creator. Do not let this question quietly poison your faith. Do not look at the ease of the wrongdoer and mistake it for a sign of their success, and do not look at your own hardship and mistake it for a sign of your failure. This life is temporary. It is a classroom, not a courtroom, and the final true reward is still to come for every single one of us, based not on how easy our life looked from the outside, but on how sincerely we held on to our faith while it was hard. So tonight, if you are hurting, hold on, your pain has not gone unnoticed. Your patience has not gone unrecorded. And your reward, inshallah, has not gone unprepared. Barakallahu fikum.